We're live. Woo!
Hey, everybody.
Hi, everyone. It is Njeri and Sherry. I am going to shed some light on my face shortly, but I thought we would just enter and then give ourselves like a minute or two to get settled as people get into the live. So welcome. Happy Saturday. Super excited to be reading. And I'll be right back because I need to like adjust my situation.
Just add some brightness so your melanin can really exude the excellence that it is. I appreciate that.
Why I love you. I have to get my tools. I feel like I changed up my color a little bit yesterday. Do that.
I'm excited. Do what you need to do so we can see the full brilliance of your beautiful face.
Thank you. I love you.
Love you too.
And I feel like
who watches K-drama and K-pop and knows what this is, okay? Shout out to y'all.
Okay, let's see. And then I'm listening to this on Audible, but we'll figure that part out in a second.
I have also been
hybrid
reading. I think you, first of all, you introduced the concept to me of hybrid reading before I had a YouTube channel during quarantine pages. And I was like, yeah, I love that idea. And I had Audible anyways, and I would just I hadn't been using any of the credits really. Right. So I started to do that. I don't do it for every book, but it really heightens my reading experience for the books that I do it with. So it's been great.
I'm glad. It really makes a difference for me as well, especially with books that I'm not super enjoying. That sometimes when you have a really good narrator, it helps to listen to another person's voice. Because if the voice in my head is like, why did this person get allowed to publish a book? Then it kind of taints what I'm reading. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I agree with that.
But that's only really happened twice. So let's see who's here. Hi, Carol. Hi, Tatiana. Happy Saturday. Hello, Monique Latrice. Hi, Gina. Hi, Isis. Everybody's loving on everybody. That's how it should be. Hello, is it Nicey Diva? Nicey Diva. Nicey. Hi, Brittany. Yes, hybrid reading is the thing. Hi, Priscilla. Ooh, everybody's. Hi, Sarah. Oh, yes. I like listening to books in the bath. I recently bought this tray, adjustable tray that you can put in your tub, and it has place for a wine glass and then a place for a book or
That's nice.
Hi, Regina Renee.
And I don't take baths, but that sounds fun.
I love baths. All right, everyone. I think I'm hearing a bit of an echo from is it you or is it me? Feedback, yeah.
Maybe. I can mute when I'm not talking.
Okay, maybe try. Thank you. Okay, and yes, I will send a link to the tray. All right, everyone. So we are here second time this week. We were here yesterday, so shout out to everybody who is here with us before. We spent the first half an hour just talking about part 1, and then we went right into reading part 2. So I think I'm very curious, Sherry, I'm not sure where you are at in the story, but I'm just curious as to what the story, so what are you, and this question is going to be thrown out to everybody else. So everybody else who's not Sherry, please in the chat, just put in what page you're on or what percentage of your read you're at, and also answer this question. So my question is, what kinds of things outside of the story does the story have you thinking about? So what kinds of in real life things outside of the story does Mind of My Mind have you thinking about?
Got you. So that's a really, first of all, Njeri, you always have the best questions. And that's a really great question. For context, I will say that I am on chapter 3, which is the last chapter in part 1. So I'm slightly behind our schedule, but I'll catch up during today's reading, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
One of the major things that the story so far has had me thinking about outside of the story is agency, right? There's, I think, for Mind of My Mind, and also for me, this was a big theme in Wild Seed as well, is how much agent, like the view of how much agency someone truly has, how much choice someone truly has. So, for example, a while ago during one of our readings, you asked who we had the most empathy towards in the story. I don't know if you remember that question or if everyone else. And people's answers ranged. And one less popular answer was some of the characters were in Carl's household, and their sense of agency, because they had none and they had no they literally were being mind controlled, so they have no sense of agency and what that means. And then also, so outside of the story, what that looks like in real life, right? There are lots of people who are in precarious situations that result in them having less than the amount of choice. And also, for context, I work in public health. And so my big thing is, a big thing that I value and that like centers me is choice, right? Someone can't make an informed decision if they don't actually have all of the information. Mm-hmm. So a lot of like health behavior type things don't actually give you the scope of the context of what's created this environment and the scope of choice that someone has to make those decisions, right? So you have to like take a step back and consider all that, and like what amount of choice, what amount of options does someone actually have to create the agency for them to make choices? Mm-hmm. So that's a big thing that I've been thinking about.
Cool.
How about you?
I have been thinking about the malleability of power and how power, the same kind of power, can be used in ways that are destructive, constructive, empowering, disempowering, neutral. Like there are lots of different ways to use power. And so I've been thinking about the nature of a power. So a good analogy would be superpowers, where, you have the ability to create fire to warm a community, or you can burn down a whole city, right? Which is good if the city's bad, which is bad if the city's good, right? Like just power in and of itself, right?
And then the like, who defines bad and good comes into play when you have that too, right? Because there are multiple perspectives to everything, and a lot of people who do things that I myself qualify as quite bad are, in their own mind, they're in the right. So that's also interesting, like layer onto that as well.
Let's see what folks are saying. So page 87, hello. So the question, Memory Reframed, was what kind of in real life things does a story have you thinking about? Okay. People who have controlling relationships that lower how they see and respect themselves. Yep. Society underestimating Black women's power. Yes. Also, hi. Intergenerational trauma. Yes, for sure. And intergenerational, like intergenerational, because they be having like lots of generations all together. Starting chapter 6. Awesome. page 111, Priscilla, thinking about how coups. So how coups happen, or did you dictate that and it really meant haikus? Because if you're thinking about haikus, then I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you either way. But thinking about how coups for no reason. And Tashi's laughing. Malleability. Dang it. Oh. Kudos to me for knowing how to spell it. 100%. Yeah, there are a lot of things I would like to do that would only be right in my head. 100%. Amber, you're just in time. All good. Halfway through part 2, chapter 5. Awesome. Page 77. The story has me thinking about how Dora represents how patriarchy has evolved. Moving through the centuries makes me think about the damage that industrialization and capitalism has done to people. Word. Hi, Michelle. Amber, yes. All right. Cool. So, Sherry, do you think it's time for our first little sprint? Maybe 15
I would
minutes?
love a sprint. Seems like lots of people are ahead of me, so I want to try to move forward.
Okay, you want to actually sprint in the literal sense.
Yes.
Okay, let me find our 15-minute timer. And here we go. And let's do this little frosty one. Nope, no ads. No revenue for you. Oh, wait,
let's get this party started.
Sorry.
Go ahead and make an equal sign with those forearms and meet me in a plank.
Thanks, Peloton. Hold on. And then let's come on, put those arms in an equal side and meet me on that. Nope. I'm not meeting you no place. Chrome tab. Okay. Are we seeing it?
We are seeing it. And I hope everyone who has the Peloton is as excited to get on that expensive ass bike.
All right. So let us begin. Happy reading. See you in 15 minutes, everybody. Okay. Go ahead and make an equal sign with those forearms, everyone. And I'll meet you on the mat. All right, we are back. So, what page are you on? And if Octavia E. Butler were to write you into the story right now, where would you situate yourself in the plot? So, where would you want to be? And in relation to whomst? So, if Octavia E. Butler, what page are you on? And if Octavia E. Butler were to write you into the plot at the point that you are in your reading, where would that be? Where in the plot would you be? And in relation to whomst? Sherry, would you like to start us off? I saw your face when I asked the question.
Well, I can start us off. I dislike the idea of me being in this story.
Yes.
As any of the characters.
Or a whole new character. Like, you don't have to be one of the characters. You can be yourself in relation to someone.
Got you. I am about 2 pages away from being done with chapter 3. Almost in book 2, part 2. So there's that. Ideally, I would like to know what's going on without being one of Doro's breeds. I would like to know because I like to know things. I just literally the pleasure of knowing things. But I don't want to be. I would prefer Doro not to know about me. So ideally, if I could create my own ideal situation, is that I would first of all be Wild Seed. So I would defo have some gifts. Doro would have no clue about me, but I would know that he's out here breeding people for some overarching diabolical plan that I think is more than breeding. We'll see, y'all. I'm the book series, I'm really waiting for the moment for that to be a thing. And if it's not a thing, I'd be sad. But anyways, so that's where I would position myself. How about you?
If I were just off the top of my head, not thinking about this too deeply, but if I were to be inserted in the plot, I would also want to be Wild Seed, but I would want to be the president and CEO of the hospital in Forsyth, so that I could be alerted to strange behaviors and respond to them, right? I would be I would want to be able to know when people are under mind control and to help correct it and help people escape, kind of thing. But I would be at the hospital so that people could that's where people would go if they were hurt or whatnot, because it seems like they use their local hospital. So that's where I would be. And I am on page 114. I really like the whole hidden in plain sight of it all, being somebody with powers, but also working in a very mundane, the librarian who's actually a wizard kind of deal.
I really enjoy that also because y'all know aliens are real.
Yes.
I just let's just start with that base agreement in this conversation as I move forward. But yes, I agree with that. I really enjoy the concept of people just living their lives with these extraordinary gifts.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. Also, I think it's really dope that you would want to be at the hospital. That's definitely like a great point of access. And now you have me thinking about other points of access. I honestly, because I feel like public health is my calling, I still like would want to be in that field, and just like this, an advanced awareness would be greatly beneficial in that. So that would be really, really dope. And for those who aren't reading the version of the book that you're reading, whereabouts are you? I know you said the page number, but like what chapter are you on?
I'm chapter 6. I'm 6 pages in to chapter 6.
Okay, cool.
Thanks for that. Okay, let's see what other people are saying, because I'm seeing some very interesting answers. Sarah would be Doro repenting for his sins. Sounds good. I love that.
She just wants Doro to repent. I love it.
That's all I need. That's all I need in life. Christina, I'm halfway through chapter 6. I would be as far away from Doro if I could at any given time. But if you're far away from him, you couldn't stab him. Which I know is your master plan, Christina.
Right? We need to know what he's doing. Whereabouts he at? You gotta have your own spies or something, maybe. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there for you, Christina.
Tati, I'm not reading the book tonight for shame, but I would be okay with being one of Emma's neighbors, which would mean I'm related to them somehow, but not important to Doro. That's very wise. That's very thought through.
I would add to that, Tati, like maybe the addition of like potentially not wanting to be like, I feel like her relatives who live in that area also in general, seems to me, have issues with like either drugs, alcohol, or gambling. So I don't know if you want to add that disclaimer onto that as well, but
I want to be well.
Just a note, you want to be well, but also a neighbor.
Hi, Carolyn. You're on page 127 of the Kindle version, chapter 7, Mary. You would be on Mary's side with Carl. Interesting. I want to drill down. I want to know what it means to be on Mary's side, and what does that, like, what would that look like? So I'm intrigued, and I'd like more details. Amber, I am on page 77, and I must admit I'm a big chicken. You are not alone. So Emma, I thought you wanted to be Emma. Okay, I want to be with Emma, neighbor, friend. You're just like, Emma, save me. Emma, protect me. No matter what happens, Emma, I got you. I'm right here, right under your wing. That's a very, very wise, safe place to be. He would find you eventually, Sherry. This is just true.
I'm not trying to hide out from Doro, you know what I'm saying? Necessarily. I'm just not trying to be like on his purview immediately. I'm out here trying to figure out what his moves are so that when he come find me, I'm ready. That's all I'm saying.
Page 94, I'd be listening to Ada's stories on a road trip to California. That's good. That makes me happy. I also would like Anyanwu's powers, but without Doro finding me. I'm getting a theme. Far away from Doro. Doro can't find me. You're on page 90. Cool. Chapter 3, page 50. I don't know. Maybe the gardener's wife. I feel like they know more than what people think. That's true. They know much more than what people. Don't they always? Yes. I love that. Priscilla definitely would want to be peripheral in this story as well. Maybe a latent like Clay, so I'm aware of what's happening. Okay. How would you avoid being controlled yourself, Njeri? You have all the anti-questions. Well, if I were Wild Seed, I would be the kind of Wild Seed that couldn't be controlled by Doro. Obvi. That's all.
Obvi. I think the question, so first of all, I love the answer, obviously. I think we're in cahoots around that. I would challenge you to say that if confronted with Doro, like Anyanwu was in Wild Seed, to think about what your reaction would be given his innate ability and how he responds to people. But we can keep going through people's responses before you answer that question.
I feel like I would just be like, bruh, I see you, and you stay in your lane, I stay in mine. You know, you mash people up, I heal them and send them away. Like, you have lots of seed villages, so Yeah, but I would have to be very, very, very strong. Like, you know how Anyanwu, you know, could potentially cause him some serious like harm. I would need to be Wild Seed like that. Like, I don't want to like middle of the road Wild Seed.
No, in my mind, in my mind, when I say Wild Seed, I mean like you try to find me. I am cognizant enough of that connection when that thing happened in Wild Seed to be like, oh shit, you the type of Wild Seed I kill because I feel threatened, and I'm like, try me.
Yeah, exactly. This is some very heavily curated, modified Wild Seed. But if I stab him, he takes my body. No, fair. No, these are all fair points. Fair, very fair points, Christina. Good counterpoint. I would be Rachel, the healer aspect of her really. Oh, I would be Rachel. The healer aspect of her really speaks to me. Mine is sucking everybody's energy dry, but I'm on page 1. There's always a but with all of these powers, right? So, yes. I'm quite curious about Rachel as a character and her powers, especially there's something succubusy about like how she does what she does. So interesting. I'm cool having an issue with gambling. Doro and Emma have bank. The doc can't answer that question yet. I feel attacked. Hi, Caleb. Wow, this is kind of meta, but it's cool how Doro know exactly how long eventually is. Yes, this is true. Doro's so smug. I can't believe I just used cool and Doro in the same sentence. Well, you did, Caleb. You need to live with yourself. Freakishly cool. But would immunity to Doro equal immunity to Carl? Carl is telepathically stronger than Doro. This is getting very technical, and I feel like I would just find a way to fix that too.
I mean, that's true about the telepathy, but if you think of Wild Seed as in like both Njeri and I wanted to be Wild Seed, similar in kind of gifts to Anyanwu and like consciousness, then and we think about we think about the actual book Wild Seed. I think his name was Thomas. And that ish he tried to pull, that's the level I'm at right now. So Carl might be telepathically stronger than Doro because Doro has no telepathic powers, but I feel like I could take him too. When you at a certain level, you at a certain level.
It's true. I agree. What Sherry said. On Mary's side means I feel more trust in her position at this point in the story and would rather see how her pattern is forming and playing out than to attempt escaping or challenging her power. Oh, I see what you mean. I hope that Mary, in trying to understand and engage with the people in her pattern, that she gets over this proprietary impulse and maybe considers how to work with as opposed to control. Like it would be so interesting to see if she wanted to, or how she could reframe and reshape the relationship so that it's interdependent and supportive as opposed to controlling and abusive ultimately.
Also, given where I'm at in the story, I just finished Mary's transition, so I think I know exactly what y'all talking about, and I'm real into it. Learning more about it, and considering how she initially describes that connection, because that's where I'm at right now. I literally just read that part, and she said I think she uses the word proprietary, and I'm like, that's gross because these are humans, and I hate the ownership of any humans. So yes, I agree with you, Njeri.
But Doro isn't really looking to patch his people up. Only his people beat up. Yep, it's true. These are true. Mary seems to have a good heart. She seems to have compassion, unlike most of the others. 100%. Yes. Oh, the butt has a purpose. Yes. Sammy Rachel, and I love succubuses. I would be Mary at this point. She might be the only person as powerful as Doro. I need to understand why Doro's, like, what it is about Mary's power that Doro's like, I will not tell her because she doesn't know how powerful she is. I just wanted to find out. I'm like, I want to know.
We need to know. This is the part about this series that so far is like, I'm like, I just need to read it faster, is the amount of suspense that Octavia E. Butler has built into the series. It's like so well done. And I just I'm like, I love you, goddess, but also I'm tired of you. I need to know the answer.
Yes.
I don't read fast enough for this.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I also think that, like, it's wanting to, like, I'm waiting to find out about somebody's power. I'm waiting to find out about their, like, where they fit in this psychic kind of hierarchy. I'm waiting for a battle, like, and this is a hard book to slow read for that reason. At the same time, I kind of like the tension, but it's hard. It's harder than, like, the other books that we've read so far, and this is harder than Wild Seed for me to read slowly.
Yes, because I already have the background of Wild Seed, and that left me with a lot of, like, suspense also. So I agree, it's harder for me to. I mean, the suspense is more intense than Wild Seed for me, but also I do like the suspense because I'm literally, while I'm reading it, I'm impressed with the level of suspense it's creating in me. Does that make sense?
Yes. And I have to say, one of the things I'm enjoying about this so far is, like, the ability to, like, these connections, right? Like, I love reading stories. I don't read a lot of stories about telepaths. I can't even think of other stories about telepaths I've read recently, except for vampire stories, where there's some kind of, like, mind control element to them. But, like, I haven't read a telepath story in a while. Yes, Mary's powers are very fun to read about. Oh, sorry, Tati, but is the impulse of propriety bad? Emma and Doro have the same impulse. I don't think they have the same impulse, though, but exhibit in I actually think I think Emma's and Doro's impulses are different. Like, I think Doro, and that's weird because, like, the use of the word proprietary, I was surprised that Octavia Butler would do that to Mary as a character, for her to so immediately feel that way. I can see somebody in the pattern who's being held by her feel like it is a proprietary relationship, but it pains me to think that Mary, who I see as an innocent, be associated with words that are words that would be more appropriate for Doro, who I don't see as an innocent, But yeah.
That's interesting. For me, I agree with you that I don't believe that impulses of Emma and Doro are the same. I think that's one of the major ways they differ, is, like, what their motivations are, what their impulse is, that results in them creating a very, like, similar, like, community type of thing / whatever, without getting too far into that. The proprietary word being used for Mary immediately, as I was reading it, because I literally just read it, it made sense to me, considering, like, her, like, being a teen, and kind of her background of how she was raised, and that first experience. This seems to be the first experience of, like, her having any sense of ownership, any sense of, like, hierarchy over anybody or anything. And with that kind of that warped, like, reality that creates initially in a lot of, like, teens' minds as they transition to adulthood. So
Mary's powers are fun to read about. First time I read Mary saying "my people," I thought she meant, like, chosen family, but yeah. Yes, X-Men, Jean Grey. Yeah. Kilgrave from Jessica Jones. I don't know who that is. Yes, she's very their mind about her direct. Yeah, she is. None of them are innocent. Oh, bloops. Mary has the most knowledge of Dora's intentions other than Emma for what we've been shown. Okay. We'll have to get the book. Why is 1977 in brackets on the cover? I'm curious because that's my birth year, elbow cough. It's okay to be born in 1977, uniquely me. That's fine. It's publication year, I think. I think this was 1997. Okay, we're going to go right back. We're going to get a sprint. So this is like almost the last comments. Mary knows what Doro intended for her and is fine with it, whether she succeeds or fails. Okay. Agreed, Tati. It's actually scaring me how much of Doro I see in Mary now. Okay.
Y'all remember how when she had, like, she was not in conflict with Doro initially, and she's known about what his plan is for her entire, like, life. The only time we've seen them the only time I've seen them really start to be in conflict is when her marriage didn't go as she expected it. You know, that's when the conflict started.
Right.
It had nothing to do with like Doro's being and how he and his like values and like how he treats people or any of those things. That's all I'm saying.
I'm uncomfortable. Okay. That's fine. I'm not receiving this well. Oh my God, can we stop? I think it's her writing. It's so silky. Ooh, silky. Like you just slide into her stories. Ooh! And you just want to keep going. Amber, okay.
Love this imagery.
I know. Thanks, you got 100%. Okay, we shall end with Tati cackling because that's always a beautiful thing to behold. Let's just keep it up there, which will make her cackle anymore. Okay, let's Peloton. Let me just find, we'll get back to the forearms making an equal sign in a second. Let's get 25-minute timer. Hopefully I'll find a frosty one. There we go. Here's another frosty one. Yes, that will be frosty. And pause that and share the screen. So we're going to do our 25-minute now. I'm going to get a cookie because I want one and I'm grown. I can do what I want. And okay. Okay, everyone. Happy reading. See you in 25 minutes. Okay. I got some good reading in. I like the 25-minute amount of time. So, what page are, oh, Tati's still cackling. Let's remove that. So, do you want to throw out a question, Sherry? Let me illuminate myself. Do you want to throw out a question?
No, I am unprepared to throw out a question. I can think of one. If you want to ask your next question, I'll think of.
Okay. So, if you were to discover that you had the ability to create a pattern and connect with other people in your mind, how would you, and you had to, so let's say like you realized you could, and you also had to, how would you do that in a way that didn't like abuse others? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is there a way that could happen? Is that even possible? Like, if you had to hold people in a pattern in your mind, it could that actually be done without compromising, you know, other principles that you have? I don't know. So I'm curious about, like, it seems like we're being offered, because like the whole point of the slow read is to read Octavia's work, but then to also think about it. And I'm like, why would Octavia Butler write this world? Like, why would she have us thinking about mind control? And she always has us thinking about options. So is there a better way? Like, I feel like she offers Doro and Emma or Anyanwu as an opportunity for us to ask the question, are there other ways to develop these seed villages without, you know, being Doro? So enter Emma, right? So just wondering about that. And in terms of pages, I am 3 pages into chapter 7. And I am like, the pace is picking up for me in terms of my own reading and how quickly I want to get through it and stuff. So it's honestly getting a bit hard to read slow. And I hate Doro at the moment. So what are your thoughts, Sherry?
Firstly, I just want to say that I doubt that you hate Doro only for this moment. But also, I think that's a very interesting question that you pose. My immediate response to that, of course, you know, having not really thought about it for a long period of time before right now, because you just posed the question and I had not thought about it previously, is that both in the ability to not have a choice in creating the pattern, and if we're going from like Mary's perspective of not understanding the pattern enough to undo it, and the people who she's connected with not having a choice in joining, I don't think currently from that, I think there's a way to create it in any way that wasn't toxic. For preference, I am like 2 pages away from being done with chapter 5.
Okay. Cool. Oh, hell, can that even happen? We are in the world of our imagination, so yes, it could happen. You'd have to ask first and then have a contingency plan to coerce them in if they say no, because neither of you have a choice. Yeah.
Which then, because you're using coercion, like it's a combination of like no one having a choice either in the creation or in the joining. And then in Tati's case, like if they say no, because assuming that they don't automatically join, like we've seen in the book, because I'm at the part where I've just read like I think 3 people's like story of how they got in, what was going on when they joined. So assuming that doesn't happen immediately and they have this chance to say no, and then the coercion starts, like the fact that you use the word coercion, like it just all feels very icky.
Yeah. Sure does. Carolyn would try to seduce each of them into choosing their versions of the greater good, assuming that the greater good would be best for all concerned, no matter how it varied. Cool. So to bring them to the imagination, right? To be like, yeah, we're held here together, but this is an opportunity for you to create something that would work for everyone else. Possible. I think you're ahead of me now. Okay. Christina, I think the way Mary is doing it is quite okay under the circumstances. She's doing her best not to harm them. Imagine if it was Carl or Jesse or Jan. They already showed how to be cruel about it. Mm-hmm. Like Jesse's whole like Jesse freaks me out.
I literally just finished reading Jesse's like entrance into the pattern story of him like being in that fight. I literally just finished reading his part. And I was like,
Creepy.
cool. This guy is awesome.
I think it's an impossible situation. Yep. Sherry and I, our mind melded. We're mind of our mind. And Njeri, yes. Carolyn, yes. And Jesse is trash. No lies detected. All right. So it is 8:25, my clock. So how much I've been trying to end these right at 9 to preserve like people's time, mostly mine. So how much of a sprint do you want? Do you want to do, I'm proposing 20, and then we chat a little bit and then we finish. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. Well, 30 minutes. Well, Tati, you'll just have to continue reading. It's been a lot of screen time for me today. It's been good, but I'm like, let's do 20. Yes, exactly. Okay, so we'll do 20. I don't know why I asked when 20 was what I wanted. I should have just been like, okay, 20. Let me find Frosty 20-minute timer. And here oh, this one's pretty. Stunning winter snow. Yes. Sorry, skip ad. Oh, this is pretty. You'll like this one. Let's share the screen. And then put it back, and there we go. Happy reading. Oops. Okay. That was 20 minutes. How far are you along, Sherry, in the book?
I'm like, man, I am halfway through chapter 5.
Mm-hmm.
So for reference, that is when Mary is talking about how Doro took her to Disneyland when she was a child and told her the story of his beginning. That's the part I was at.
Yes, good scene. Very good scene.
Not
Not creepy at all.
creepy at all. As far as I'm concerned, Duro is a pedophile. And every time I read it, it's just quite disturbing. But yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Where are you at in the story?
I just finished chapter 7. And I do see how I understand why we would say Mary and Doro are the same in many ways, but I can't hold that as truth right now. I am hoping for some distinguishing of Mary and Doro. I need that.
Yeah, that's interesting because one, I got that from your immediate reaction when it was said during the last break between the sprints. And two, that leads me to my question that I thought of for everyone.
Excellent.
Which is we kind of started off the conversation after our very first sprint talking about the amount of suspense that's in the story. And so I want to pose also, we're like all in part 2, so we're like kind of halfway-ish through the book. So what are we hoping for? Like, where are we hoping the suspense is going to take us is my question. And so if you want to kind of say more or expand on the difference that you're hoping to see between Mary and Dorel.
Okay. The difference that I'm hoping to see between the two of them, like Doro has the choice to not control people the way that he does and to not like be breeding. Mary does not have the same choice because she is subordinate to Doro. So that's one of the things that I see as different here. I'm hoping that Mary's power will evolve such that she is just as powerful as Doro, which means she can release herself from him. And I would love to see her do that and also release others from him. Like I want like a huge Mary saves the day moment. Like huge, epic. I'm not going to get that because Octavia E. Butler doesn't do epic. She does gray, but that's what I want. What about you?
I feel you on that. And I know that I asked the question, but I'm not sure if I have an answer right now.
Oh, okay.
Like, I am just so your response reminded me of what my hopes were for Wild Seed and Anyanwu, right? So
Yeah.
as I'm reading Mind of My Mind, I'm also very cognizant of like my experience reading Wild Seed because that was like a month ago, 2 months ago. So my hope for the suspense is to just know more. I want to at least, we'll be halfway through the book series after this book.
Yeah.
So I'd like to at least know either what Doro's like big plan is, because God, I hope he has a big plan beyond breeding. Like, honestly, if that's not a thing, I'm gonna be so upset. But number 2, like even if I don't, because obviously I'm not gonna agree with whatever it is, but I just need there to be a higher purpose for his actions beyond breeding. And So I would like to know that by the end of this book. And 2, would love to see would love to end it with either, I don't think Doro's going to go away in this book because, again, we're halfway through the series and he's like Doro. So I would like to see I would like us to be like at an arc of challenging him. So whether it's Mary or whether it's Anyanwu or whether it's the pattern group that Mary has connected with, of which I still don't know much about because I just finished reading all of their stories of them experiencing the connection. Something. I need some kind of like a challenge, like an actual challenge. Just actually has an ability to challenge him. That's what I didn't have it. I know I said I didn't have an answer, and then I just gave one. So here's that.
Well, you do. It has been answered. Anybody else in the chat? I think OEB's thought process around this series is like the tagline of the show True Life. You think you know, but you have no idea. We won't know until the end. I feel the same as Sherry about the end of this book. Okay. All right. So we'll wait for a few more comments to come in before we end for the day. But thank you very much to those of you who have come in 2 days in a row. As we think about the slow read and how we're going to be doing future books, please give us feedback in terms of the pacing of the slow read. Do you like 2 days back to back? Does it help you sort of feel like, you know, it's like your reading is fast for those 2 days, but then it can return to being slow? Or would you prefer doing it weekly? So like 7 sessions, 1 week at a time before the book, the live show. So whatever way you can get in touch with us or put it in the chat or you can also add this comment, especially if you're watching the playback, you can add this comment in the comment section, but it'd be helpful to know. I'm hoping to continue to understand and appreciate what Doro's intended end game is and see it freaking happen. Blue.
I don't know if I would use the word appreciate, but yeah.
Renee, I play grown woman like it's my personal anthem. Live your life. Live that life. Geraldine, I'm looking forward to a challenge between Mary and Doro. Yes. I want to show down. And it's interesting because I know that there's like, and it's even the rest of the books. So we've got Clay's arc. So I'm like, okay, is this like
Noah's? Oh my gosh, I just had a moment.
Clay.
Yeah, because I just got introduced to him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
So like Clay's arc, I'm like, okay, Noah's arc 2 by 2. Is this another biblical reference? Are we now right? And then I'm also thinking about the pattern master. Because I was like,
which was written first, right? The pattern master, as soon as she used the word pattern, I thought of the fact that the last book is called Pattern Master and it was created first. I also thought it was interesting that was the immediate term that Mary uses to describe the experience that she's never experienced before. Did you notice that when you were reading it?
I did notice that, but I noticed that she used pattern. But no, I didn't. So I have to go back to that. Cool. Let's see. You like this format? Great. Appreciate the end game, not Doro sucks. Oh, you appreciate. Okay, cool. I like this format. Okay. I mean, I would hope for his plan to fail, but we get attached to the people he uses. Yes. Okay. All right. Sherry, any last thoughts before we sign off for the night?
I also like this format. I will record my preference also in the comments afterwards, but this is lovely as always. And Njeri, thank you so much for creating this space. I really enjoy reading along with the group and reading, and particularly being able to converse with you on the lives also.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining and for being so great and your great questions and your humor, because I love you. So this is wonderful. I know that we'll probably get some other comments. Thank you, Tommy. I know it's Sherry. Share your thing. The feedback. I mean, if his plan fails, did we waste time with the series? We didn't, but did we? I love you. Night, Tommy. I like the format too. Wish us luck in DC this week. Oh, Audrey. I wish you all the things. Send you woo. All the things. Be safe. You're welcome, Christina. All right, everyone. Have a lovely rest of your evening. Have a lovely rest of your weekend, or whenever you watch this video. All right, everyone. See you later. Bye. And broadcast.